I want to bring in our panel of political experts. And Van Jones, I'll start with you. You saw that energy at Kamala Harris's first campaign rally where she announced she had the best fundraising day in American campaign history. How are you thinking about this remarkable shift among the Democrats in just the past 2 days?
Oh, free at last, free at last. Kamala Harris is unleashed. She's just brilliant. She's just the energy that's coming off of her is the energy that's coming off of the American people. Look, I mean, this is 2008 vibes already. She's done in literally 48 hours things that were considered impossible. She got the nomination. She took over cultural. She's a cultural phenomenon now. TikTok loves her. She raised more money than anybody. She signed up 50,000 people. You can do your whole career and not get 50,000 volunteers. She did it in 48 hours. You are witnessing the birth of a cultural phenomenon, and you need a cultural phenomenon to stop a cultural phenomenon. Donald Trump is a cultural phenomenon. So now you've got two superpowers colliding, but this one just came out of nowhere. Listen, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, people were like, Kamala Harris, I don't know, she can't win, I don't like her, blah, blah, blah. All those people are marching in line and getting in formation. It's unbelievable to watch.
It's very impressive indeed. And David Chalian, we take a look at some of these numbers. 1.1 million individual donors just in the past couple of days or so. 62% of them, that's about 680,000 individuals here in the United States, were first-time contributors. So how does the Harris campaign keep this momentum going?
Well, it's going to be tough to keep the momentum going at the level that you shoot out of the launch with. That is true for most campaigns, but they are going to have to find ways to keep resupplying more new donors, more grassroots activism, more volunteer signups, and they will aim to do so. The reality is those metrics, Wolf, are they're not just talking points. I mean, this is real. This is those contributions, the signups. Those are real numbers that show a different kind of enthusiasm. Biden's campaign was suffering from a pretty significant enthusiasm gap. That has completely closed right now.
Certainly has. Very impressive indeed. Ashley Ellison, you heard Kamala Harris really draw on her experience as a prosecutor. She was the Attorney General in California, District Attorney in San Francisco. How effective do you think this line of attack against Trump is?
Well, she draws on that experience because of how large the Department of Justice of California is. It's the second largest in the country just after the actual Department of Justice. I think it's important because the contrast of her being a prosecutor and Donald Trump being convicted of 34 felony accounts and potentially counting if other cases actually come to trial is significant. I also think, though, it can draw a contrast between people who have been involved in the criminal justice system. 1 out of 3 people know someone in America that has been a part of the criminal justice system. 1 out of 5 people in America have actually interacted with the criminal justice system. Those individuals don't get immunity like Donald Trump is getting from the Supreme Court. Those individuals don't get to skip their sentencing day, which happened on July 11th. Those individuals don't have the system actually work the same way as Donald Trump. And so there are multiple contrasts that Kamala Harris can draw between her and Donald Trump and the American people and how they don't have the same lived experience as Donald Trump.
Yeah, she's really going after him on that line of attack. Matt Mowers is with us as well. Matt, it was interesting. I thought that Trump, what he said today, he said he's ready to debate Kamala Harris, but he's not going to do it on ABC, which he had earlier agreed to do if Biden was going to be the Democratic presidential nominee. So he's not going to do ABC. He doesn't trust ABC, he says. How do you read that between the lines?
Well, I think, candidly, he's got to find a new agreement if he wants to debate Kamala Harris, the same way she will. It would not have been surprising if Donald Trump chose to debate Joe Biden again. I think he's going to honestly make a cold, hard political calculation about whether he debates Kamala Harris. And if polling is the same in September as it is today, where he's leading nationally, he's leading in every key swing state. New Quinnipiac poll came out today showing him with the most popular he's ever been among the American people. At the same time, when Kamala Harris was -14 in that same poll in her favorable rating, I don't know why he's going to debate her, because he's going to look at this and say, I'm going to win this election.
You think he's afraid to debate her?
I don't think he is. And I, at least at a personal level, I don't think he is. And I don't believe his core supporters believe he is either. I mean, it's clearly going to be a very different debate. you're going to actually have a Democratic nominee show up. Does she perform well or not? That's a different story, but she'll at least be there in a way that President Biden clearly was not at the end of June. But I don't think he's afraid of debating her. He has very great confidence in his debate abilities. I don't think Donald Trump's afraid personally to go up against anyone.
And in fact, I think he said today, Wolf, that he believes that the American people do deserve debates between their candidates, and he seems fully like he's moving ahead, prepared to.
I don't think people should decide whether or not they should debate people based on their polling numbers. I think that when you decide to be a candidate, you should get up and debate your opponents. Donald Trump wouldn't do that in the primaries. He definitely should do that with Kamala Harris. We as voters deserve that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with you on that. Van, Republicans today are trying to distance themselves from some lawmakers' supposedly racial attacks on Kamala Harris. But listen to what Trump told reporters this afternoon about Harris's debate against Biden back in the 2016 election cycle. Listen to this.
She was by far the nastiest to Joe Biden. That's why I was so surprised that he took her. There was nobody nastier than her. She played the race card at a level that you rarely see. And she really was very nasty to him, and then he picked her. So I don't get that exactly. Now they act like they're great friends, but you don't really recover from that.
So what do you make of that, Van?
That's his favorite word to use about women. Nasty, 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 like he's Janet Jackson or something. Look, here's reality. The Republican Party is going to have to resist its worst impulses to make this a racial, gender, trash truck of insult and innuendo against this candidate. I don't want to hear it. She checked a box by winning at the local level. I voted for her at the local level in San Francisco when she was my district attorney. I voted for her when she was attorney general in California. I voted for her as a senator. I voted for her as vice president. What more boxes can you check? The only people who've been giving her special treatment are voters who keep electing her. And so I don't want to hear it. And the Republicans who are smart will separate themselves from this nasty stuff really quickly, and the ones who are not will go along with it. Let's have a straight-up competition. Someone who's won at the local, state, and federal level, who's served with honor and distinction, versus somebody who has been a con artist his whole life and who led an insurrection. Nobody has to insult anybody's race or gender. Let's just put the records out there and have a clean fight. But the Republican Party will tarnish itself irrevocably. By the way, Republican Party has been trying to get black folk over there, trying to get black men over there, trying to get Latinos over there. They're going to lose all of that if they start insulting black women the way that they're starting this yesterday.
Ashley, what do you think?
Look, a week ago we were at the RNC and we all said we were going to turn the temperature down. We're not throwing bringing race and gender into this is part of turning the temperature down. You either can walk the walk and talk the talk, or don't come to me with this unity talk.
And let me just say, I just want to say how absurd what Donald Trump said there was.
Yes.
He was blaming Kamala Harris, blaming Joe Biden for selecting Kamala Harris as the running mate, given all the things she criticized Joe Biden about. Have you looked at what J.D. Vance has said about Donald Trump? Like, it just makes absolutely no consistent sense what Donald Trump said there.
Once said, J.D. Vance said that Trump was America's Hitler. Doesn't get more.
And yet he picked him. So, like, it's not, I just don't understand what metric he's using.
I'll just say, I don't think the campaign has to go anywhere near any of that, right? This is, in a lot of ways, the same campaign it was last week. It comes down to the three I's: immigration, inflation, and competence. You have Kamala Harris, who's the deciding vote for the Inflation Reduction Act that actually spent trillions of dollars causing inflation. She was Biden's border czar when we've had record number of border crossings. And in competence, she stood side by side with Joe Biden on every single foreign policy disaster we've had, including the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. She owns that record. That's all Donald Trump has to talk about. The rest will take care of itself.
She's not incompetent. Okay, like you don't become the Attorney General of California.
Or
you
a
don't
U.S.
become
Senator.
Or the Vice President of the United States. By calling her incompetent, you're calling the 81 million people who voted for her incompetent as well. But let me just say this. That is what we're talking about. There is a way to attack her record on policy without calling her a name. Incompetent is an unflattering name. And when people do that to black women, that is what Van is talking about. You might not agree, but as a black woman, let me tell you how we hear it.
Well, you know who disagrees are the voters. The voters right now believe the Biden-Harris administration is one of the most incompetent administrations in American history. That's not me. That's the voters right now. They're not just saying about the vice president. They're saying about everyone in the administration right now.
Let me get Van to respond to that. Go ahead, Van.
Well, I agree with Ashley. Look, we're going to have to learn how to talk to each other. There's certain things that if you there's a smart way and a dumb way to do anything. It's a very dumb way to, after 400 years of this mistreatment of black people and black women, to say you're incompetent. That maybe that makes sense to you in your world, and you wouldn't take it that personally. But that has been the slur. That has been the core. That we are not worthy. We're not as smart. We're not as good. We can't do stuff. And so when you have someone who's overcome all of that again and again and again and again, and that's the word you pick, incompetent, I'm just going to tell you, it's not going to work as well for you as you think it. And what you're going to wind up doing is getting a lot of people who are not going to vote, who really did not care, who were sick of all of it. People are going to crawl through broken glass to vote against a party who says that about a black woman. Pick another word. Don't pick that one.